Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I'm super excited today. Yesterday we didn't go live, but we didn't skip this week. We just postponed it one day. We speak about it 2 days before Juventus Fiorentina, or more or less Fiorentina Juve. But I'm not alone to speak because we have people there live from the other part of the world, from New York. Ciao Marcella, ciao Joe. How are you doing, Marcella?
Ciao Giuseppe, ciao Joe, and hello to everybody in the chat. It's great to be here with you guys today.
I'm excited. It's a long time ago. It's years that we didn't share a live together. So it's my pleasure, Marcella. Thank you for being back here on the channel.
Thank you, Beppe.
Ciao, Joe. The first time that you are here together with us.
Ciao, Beppe. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm excited to talk with my Juventini and see what the word is in the Juventus world, man. It's a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Really appreciate it. Of course, we are not alone because there are a lot of Juventini in the chat as well with Jake, the first one to write. Jake, ciao Juventini, ciao Kenny, ciao Acrepi, ciao Alain, Mikalev, Bebo, Juve fan forever, Dr. XP Football, we have Bogdan, Stavros, Erected Snet that is saying, let's go Marcella. And to be honest, Erected Snet is someone that I'm not that much familiar with during the live. So it's probably someone that is coming from or the family of Marcella, or maybe the Juventus official fan club from Empire State. I don't know. Do you know Erected Snet, Marcella?
It's somebody in my club's gamer tag. I recognize it, but I'm not exactly sure.
So hello, Erected, and welcome here. By the way, you are not alone because, of course, we are much more. Look at that. We are at the moment, as we speak on the channel, 36,599 Juventini of the world. We are just missing one to go to the beautiful 36,600 before reaching 40 as soon as possible. And then we go to try to fill the Allianz Stadium with 41,000 and something. That will be extremely nice. Faster we are there, better it is for all of us. Nevin is there. Shadow, Steve Cano. We have a lot of people. I always say we cannot start a live without Sasha. Sasha is here. That means that we can start. So we have a lot of topics to go through today. I selected a few. We will speak about, of course, about Thiago Motta, about the possible next coach of Juve. There is a big list already. We are speaking about Mancini, Pioli, Conte, Gasperini, caretakers like Brambilla or Magnanelli. We heard that Zerbi. So many names. We'll speak about that, of course, later today. We'll speak about the possible game Fiorentina Juve. Why am I saying possible? Because there are some problems in Firenze that we'll speak about. We'll speak about the words of Teun Koopmeiners, or more, the words of the brother of Teun Koopmeiners, the words of Dean Huijsen. But before all that, before the actuality of Juve, I really wanted to go towards, look at that. No Pirlo, no party. Hello from Washington, D.C., from Ness. That's the topic that I wanted to go through. The weekend that you guys spent with Pirlo and Giorgio Chiellini. Who wants to lead me towards what you did last week and to that beautiful game of Juve Atalanta 4-0?
I'll start if you don't mind, Joe. That way I can kind
go
of
for it.
Introduce Joe as part of the JOFC community. In New York, we were lucky enough to be the next stop on the Juve fans North American tour. First up, I believe, was Miami and Houston, and last weekend we were honored to have Pirlo with us and Chiellini to our surprise, which really was some, amazing last minute news to really, bump up the attendance. But had an event with them on Friday with the academy, which some of the local presidents were involved with. Then on Saturday, which I believe was the first event that Joe went to, they had the meet and greet at Soccer Post, which is, a local retailer. And then on Sunday, we had the watch along at Legends Bar Football Factory, which, many of you guys from the area know is the home to JFC Empire State.
So 3 full days with Giorgio and Andrea.
Yes, and I believe there was an academy game on Saturday too, which was kind of a free attendance for everybody. I wasn't able to make it that day, but they said that it was a really nice time. Academy team's really good in New York. They went all the way down, so That's a
Three
nice
three
little
days is really a beautiful experience, especially that the game is at the end and not in the beginning. Because of course, when you lose 4-0,
yeah,
the
exactly.
mood is not that high, of course. So it's better to have it at the end, I think. But how is it? Did you already met before Pirlo and Chiellini? Was it the first time? How were they? Were they available? Were they speaking with everyone? I saw also already some clips from everyone from Serie A North America, from IFTV, doing some games with Pirlo. How is it to meet these legends?
So I actually had met Pirlo 3 times already before this event. So this
So
was
it was the fourth.
my fourth time meeting him, which is incredible to say the least.
Lucky you.
My first time meeting Chiellini, and it was I was completely starstruck. Everybody was making fun of me that every single time I went up to them, I was like shaking because
Me
it's like
too, man. Me
two
too.
two two legends. It's incredible. Pirlo was here in New York for some time when he played for
Yeah.
NYCFC, which was when I met him the 3 prior times. So it was great to have him back in New York. And
But
yeah,
this one was the first time that you met him in a Juve related thing.
was it for? Yes, it was the first time that I met Pirlo in a Juve related sphere. Yeah, absolutely. What
Is
about
it
you,
always
Joe?
the same feeling, Marcel? And then I want to ask you, Joe, to meet some players, some legends that you already met before, or does it change? Do they start to be a bit more familiar and you are a bit less excited?
No. Well, not less excited. I'm starstruck every time, and that's why my friends were making fun of me. They're like, you've literally met him 3 times before, and you're still like starstruck." I'm like, guys, it's Andrea Pirlo. Like, yeah, every single time I'm in his presence, I'm going to be starstruck. But it was cool. I was able to have him sign a picture that we had together prior through an event that we did through NYCFC. And so I said to him, I was like, I don't know if you remember me, but like we took this picture when I won like a sweepstakes and you handed me tickets to the derby. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
he said, yeah, of course. He remembered you, yeah?
the third time that I met him, he actually remembered me because it
Okay.
was like a shorter distance, but now it's been like 4 years. So,
Mm.
but the first time he did remember. So, I mean, I guess I'm kind of lucky. Pirlo remembers me. No big deal.
For you, it was the first time, Joe.
Yeah, no, it was my first time. And similar to Marcella, I actually had the bright idea Friday night. I was there Friday night at the event in our formal attire, and I got a nice picture with both of them. And I was able to get it printed on Saturday. So I brought it Sunday to the event and I got it signed as well. So I don't know, I feel like having that little keepsake from the weekend is pretty awesome. But as far as meeting them goes, it was like Marcella was saying, a surreal experience. I was not expecting I don't know, to be in the presence of such legends ever, right? Like I don't think as a fan you ever envision yourself one day getting to meet these guys. So, as somebody who played center back, who idolized Chiellini, that one was particularly special for me, getting to meet Chiellini, because like I said, he was my idol. I played the same position as him. So growing up, he was the player I wanted to be like, the one that I emulated. So getting to meet him, in addition to Pirlo, in addition to the Maestro, was amazing. It was really a dream come true. You asked about accessibility and like how easy
Yeah.
it was to sort of interact with them. I definitely felt like the event Sunday posed the best opportunities to sort of like have some chances to I don't know, just chat, interact, get to ask some questions. Whereas the previous 2 events were definitely a little bit more. Sort of get a quick picture, get a quick autograph. There wasn't as much time for interaction, but I really enjoyed that about Sunday. Was like, yeah, we got some opportunities to mingle and like what I felt like was really, genuinely interact with these guys. Which for me, as somebody who doesn't speak great Italian, I could say talking to Chiellini was awesome. His English and ability to conversate in English was really, really impressive. And Pirlo, not so much. Not to say that he couldn't speak good English, but as a non-Italian speaker, it was really neat talking to Chiellini.
Yeah, but of course, it's more recent for Chiellini because he was in LA like 2 years ago.
For sure.
I have some pictures from the event. This is wait, here. Well, who wants to guide me through the pictures? What do we see on the pictures? What kind of event it was? Of course, here I can imagine that it's not Juve Atalanta, but or not yet. Maybe in the future, who knows? But not yet. So that's the youth academy game, right?
Yeah, so that was the Youth Academy game, which was held at Randall's Island, which is a little bit, it's like in between New York and Queens for
Yeah.
anybody who's kind of like familiar with the area. You know, I know Beppe. He hasn't come to visit us yet, but one day he will.
One day I will. I really want to. I really want to. Now it's a bit too early.
Maybe for the Club World Cup, right, Beppe? Maybe.
I hope
Who's to
so.
say? Who's to
I
say?
hope so. I really hope so. But will be tough. Here we see Andrea Pirro. That's probably on Sunday because I see the game
No,
behind.
that's Friday. That was Friday night.
Okay.
Yep. In the suit, he was that was Friday night at the cocktail event, and then to introduce him and Chiellini, they had like some highlights, which is kind of what you see.
Yeah.
What you see behind you. The kids had a really cute Q&A session with him, and you know, we'll get to that maybe a little bit later, but you know, Chiellini was absolutely the two of them together really were like absolutely hilarious on Friday night. I thought during the Q&A, it was very nice. I think that's all with Jay there. I think that's also the academy.
Yeah. I'm going through the pictures now. Also, the cups were organized for them. Pictures of the game. You have Pirlo speaking at the event on Friday, if I'm not wrong. And here they are, both of them together. Do you see a good relationship between them even after they play together?
Yeah, I think it was a. I think they were like, you know, they tried to stick together like as much as, you know, as much as possible, where one went, the other one kind of when unfortunately I don't think Chiellini made it to the event on Saturday. Neither the academy or the meet and greet at Soccer Post, right, Joe? Chiellini wasn't there on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no, he was not. I was a little bit bummed. I would have liked to get more stuff signed by him, just be in his presence a little bit longer, but it was still cool seeing Pirlo, obviously, as you can see here. I was able to get a little picture with our fan club scarf. Obviously, I'm part of the Windsor fan club. I made the flight out to New York, so it was really cool getting to get the name of my club out there and hopefully draw some new Juventini members to the club, which would be awesome. That's the goal, right?
Yes, absolutely. And Windsor's in Canada, right, Joe? But you live in Detroit.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Windsor is in Ontario, Canada. It's same province as Toronto. I live in the suburbs of Detroit, which is just across the border. And I make the 50-minute drive over to Windsor, and I watch my Juventus every Sunday, every Saturday, whenever I have the chance.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah,
Chiellini available to sign some things. We see all the pictures are a bit mixed. Pirlo with a really beautiful tracksuit. We see here available for all the people. Then these group pictures. It were really fun because I was watching. And there are some familiar faces, some people that I already met, like our friend, if I'm not wrong, it's Mikey.
Yep, Mike.
Yeah, that I met a few times in Turin. That's a familiar face, of course. Chiellini, of course. I see some people that, and that's really really nice. Here, there was even that face that is quite familiar. At first glance, I was like, "Oh, that's me," but that's actually not me. But he really looked like me, like a twin. Then we see some people. Look here, that's really funny because this guy here, he offered me 5 years ago. He sent me to me. That book of Pirlo, he sent it over to me, all the way to Belgium, and I was really extremely grateful. Then when I saw him here on the pictures with his son with Pirlo, that's really really beautiful. I was extremely happy to see these moments, these beautiful pictures. And then my question was, because here you see really Chiellini with Eduardo Bandini, that is the director here, together with Pirlo, like that, just in the middle of everyone, just really accessible. That's also really nice, no?
Yeah, it was really cool to watch the game so close to them. Obviously, we hoped for a better result, but it was really really cool to kind of try to pick up on what they were saying, especially during some of the more dramatic moments of the game, like the penalty. you hear everybody kind of moaning and groaning, but Chiellini was like, "That's a penalty."
But that's what I want to know. How are they reacting during the game? Are they speaking a lot? Are they silent? Of course, there was not a lot of things to say, but how was them to their reaction during the game?
Yeah, they weren't too loud about it. I'll tell you that much. But I definitely heard that both of them said that it was a clear penalty on McKennie, which I mean,
I will second Marcella's point that neither of them were very loud. Pirlo throughout the weekend was very reserved, very doesn't express a lot of emotion, right? He's
That's Pirlo.
yeah, that's his whole demeanor, right? So I guess just par for the course for him. But I don't know. I have a little story about during that event Sunday. I kind of got there before anybody else did, and I was able to set my bag down over by where the Juventus people eventually ended up sitting. And before the game, we all had lunch, and I sort of wandered over to where I set my bag, and sure enough, Pirlo and you said Eduardo and whoever Pirlo had with him ended up sitting down at the same table that I was at, and I had the opportunity to eat lunch basically with Pirlo, and I was at the same table as him for about 45 minutes, and it was so cool, man. I was trying to keep my cool, like not do anything stupid, but I can say that I had lunch at the same table as Pirlo, and get this, Chiellini, they were giving us burgers to eat. And Chiellini got a burger, and he apparently didn't want his. And he turned around. He was at the other table. He turned around and he gave me his burger. So for lunch, I ate Chiellini's burger.
That's beautiful. That's really nice.
I know, right?
But that's something that you will never forget, right?
No, man. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And Chiellini ordered nachos. He wanted nachos instead.
Look at that. All right.
He must
All
miss
the
those
little
California
behind the
burgers.
scenes are brought to you here on the channel. And we will speak, of course, about the actuality of Juve. But I really wanted to go to these ones. Excuse me, Marcella, because I interrupted you, right?
Oh no, I just said Chiellini probably misses the nachos out in California. They're definitely a lot better than ours in New York, but
Yeah.
But no, we had a really funny moment with Chiellini. One of the Juve JOFC partners, Yvonne, she was holding our president's like baby for a little bit, and she went over and like walked over with the baby that you'll see in the group picture to Chiellini, and Chiellini just kind of like grabbed him and was like playing with him. It was like literally the most adorable thing we've really ever seen. So they were really available. They really tried to like mingle with us. It was truly a great experience.
Total
I'm jealous.
gentleman.
I'm jealous of that picture. That's a really beautiful picture, Joe.
Yeah, no, it's my profile picture now on social media, as well as it's. Go ahead.
It's also the one that I used for a thumbnail because it's really a beautiful picture.
It's nice, man. What can I say? Friday when I took my picture, I was mad because I felt like my face was, I don't know, it looked weird because I was just so excited. I was so enamored. So I made sure Saturday and Sunday, I was like very focused. I had to take a good picture. I had to have a good, facial expression.
It's hard to keep it on for the cameras all the time.
Because
man, it's hard to keep your cool.
What I'm interested in, of course, as well, is how did all this happen? Because, of course, people in the chat, they will say, Beppe, how is it possible that these guys in New York, they are able to meet Pirlo, they are able to meet Giorgio Chiellini, watch a game with them? How is it all possible? Who organizes it? Who can explain me the mechanism?
Sure. So, there's a JOFC team at Juve in Torino, obviously. And we have...
For the people that do not know what JOFC means, Marcella?
Juventus Official Fan Club. So I encourage everybody to go on the Juventus website, search official fan clubs, and no matter where you are in the world, you'll probably have a Juve fan club not more than like an hour away from you, if not more than one.
That's literally how I found the fan club that I'm a part of. I was bored one night and I looked up Juventus fan club on Google. It took me to a link on the Juventus website, and the rest is history. Like Marcella said, I found one within an hour.
And it's super easy. How do you apply to become member of a JOFC?
Every JOFC kind of has their own, membership plan. But the basics are all the same. You get access to tickets for Juve home games in Serie A, for Champions League and Europa League, European games. We actually get access to all home games and most of the away games too. I've never really had a problem sending a member to an away game. We actually had a couple of people go to the away games this year in England and in Belgium, right? It was kind of near you, Beppe.
Yeah. It's like a 1 hour 30 driving for me.
Yeah. So it's really, really cool to be able to send members to games whenever they want to, really.
So you go on Google, type in JOFC, or you go on the Juventus site, if even better. Then you try to find the one that is closer to you. You are not obliged also to go to that one. You can also pick another one.
Of course.
You send an email to them. You try to find the contact, and then you subscribe. It's a 1 year subscription, or you are a member for life, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's a 1 year subscription, and it's not really a 1 year subscription based on when you sign up. It's always best to kind of sign up in the beginning of Juventus's season, right?
Yeah.
So right in August or like a little bit before, everybody will kind of like open up membership for that year, and it'll basically last you till the end of the season because it's all based around the Juve schedule. So I believe this year our membership maybe lasts like a tiny bit longer because of the Club World Cup, and the membership season will end like right after that, I'm pretty sure.
And then a few times per season you have these kinds of events that are organized.
By Juve, I wouldn't say a couple of times this season. If your club is lucky, then maybe you get one once a year. They do a really good job of when a new JOFC pops up to kind of do an event that's closest to them. I remember the year when 2 or 3 fan clubs opened up in Florida. They really did their best to, find some like central location to really, welcome Florida into the community. Obviously during the summer tours in California, the California clubs kind of benefit the most. For a while, they came out to New York, and we were able to, be able to have access to them during that time. But, happy that they're coming to Philly for the Club World Cup, and we'll get to see them then.
That's good. That's really good. Are you excited for the Club World Cup?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I wish we were playing like, higher caliber teams. Obviously, the game against Man City in Florida is a little bit far for us. I don't know if Joe was heading to that one, but I'll definitely be at the one in Philly.
You already have the tickets?
Yes, already have the tickets.
Oh.
Yeah. They it was a really great system that they put in place for the tickets for the Club World Cup. Around December, January, we all had access to like the FIFA ticket portal through like some codes that Juventus gave to every member, and we were all able to get like tickets in the fan zone. So we're really going to be able to have like our own mini like curva during the Club World Cup.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. Normally for the summer tour events, we never get that. And we're always kind of like washed away by Barcelona fans, Real Madrid fans. And it's kind of difficult. But this year we're really looking to like a really great atmosphere.
I see a lot of people also in the chat, like Salvatore, for example, that is a member of the Empire State, or at least, that's what he says. He's a supporter of the JOFC Empire State. So we have a lot of people that knows how JOFC works. What I'm really happy about is that wherever you go in the JFC, you really see a really big connection between people who are proud Juventini. They know each other. You can share your Juventinità, your stories. You can live experiences. Look, the week before that, I was in south of Italy. Here, I had the opportunity to interview again Moreno Terricelli. You can see it here on the pictures. That was in the Campania, JOFC Campania, where they were taking a lot of the south of Italy JOFC clubs. You see here Sergio Brio, Torricelli, here again Luca, that we saw in New York as well. It's really nice. Also there we had the next gen team that was playing the day after, so they were in the same hotel. They came in the evening, so they sent like 4 or 5 players depending to also have these events. It's really really nice. Look, this year it was for me really an eye opener, even more because I knew about the JOFC, but I never really got in real contact with them in real life. And this year, seeing these two things, then asking you, Marcella, in the meanwhile, how it was in New York, it's really an eye opener how nice it is for a lot of people, Juventini of the world, that are isolated alone and are saying it's a pity sometimes, that we cannot speak about our experience, that we cannot have the pre-game, the post-game interactions, participating to these events, meeting some legends. And I really think that if you are not part of the JFC, go on the Juventus side, try to look for it, because it's really nice. And then you have really great people, like, for example, Marcella, that is doing a fantastic work in managing the club. But it's true. Not only Marcella, of course, but you have really dedicated, passionate presidents or people are really taking care of the administration and putting things together, because it's a big work. It's really a big work, especially in Italy, because a lot of people are asking for tickets every single week. And you need to make sure that everything is working well. So congratulations to you for the passion that you are doing. A lot of time it's not recognized enough how much passion there is around the world. So thank you for that, really.
No, thank you for highlighting us today, Beppe. It's it's great to be on here with you to, talk about the JOFC community. And obviously, speaking as someone who like runs a club, we do it all for our members, just like Joe here. So,
Yeah,
when we're
100%.
happy, we're happy.
And I want to shout out my president, Rob DePonte, the president of the Windsor Fan Club. He's got a heart of gold. He's truly one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And yeah, he made that weekend possible for me. And he's been nothing but kind and just an awesome person. I'm so happy to have met him. And yeah, shout out Rob. He does nothing but good.
Grande. Now people are going crazy because they want to speak about the actuality of you. Are you ready to speak about the actuality of you, or you don't want to speak about it and we will remain on the
No,
JOFC?
we're always ready. We're always ready.
So the first question from Niz is, will the game against Fiorentina be cancelled? It's a legit question, because if I show you the first picture that I prepared already here, we see that the Arno in Firenze, there is a problem. There is a really big problem. Il Bianconero reported a bit the situation there. There is the risk indeed of cancelling the game or postponing the game, let's say it like that. Why? Because I don't know, il sindaco, how you say it
Mayor.
the mayor asked officially to postpone the game. In Firenze at the moment, everything is cancelled. So the schools are cancelled until 2 p.m. Italian time tomorrow. A lot of the parks are closed, so everything is closed in the area until 2 p.m. tomorrow. The first level of the Arno has already been reached. The Arno is the river there. So the first level is already there. They reached already 3.64 meters, which is the red alarm code, which is really dangerous. In 2023, it was already something that caused a lot of problems in the city. So they are really careful with that. And they don't want to take any risk, because we know it, a game of football, it's not only 11 against 11, but you have a full stadium that will be there, that will watch the game. You need the infrastructure, you need a lot of cars that needs to go and to leave. So it's risky. At the moment, no decision has been taken about the game. I think that tomorrow we will know more. Of course, the team can travel there and then they can come back, of course, if the game is cancelled. But before going to Firenze, especially the people that are watching that are living in Italy, pay attention, wait, because it could possibly be postponed.
If I'm not mistaken, Beppe, this isn't the first time that this has happened. I'm pretty sure that there was like another maybe 3-4 years ago. this happened and they postponed the game.
Well, unfortunately, in Italy, you always have like a few times per season where games are cancelled for one problem or another.
Another.
That's not the first one. Overfloating is not the first
Yeah,
time.
no,
Now,
but the Arno specifically, I feel like it was for Fiorentina Juve too that I remember that the
I
game.
don't remember by heart. I know that here they're writing that indeed in autumn 2023, there were
I
already a
was
lot
in
of
Italy.
problems. You were in Italy in that time.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, tell us.
Well, no, I just remember I was in Siena. I was studying there, but I actually got the opportunity on the day before my birthday, May 28th, 2023. I went and I saw Milan play against Juventus in Torino, which was experience of a lifetime. I so blessed to have been to a Juve game. Unfortunately, we lost, but I remember that entire season was very rainy, and
Yeah.
they were having problems with flooding in Torino, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if any matches were postponed because of it, but I'm sure sounds like there may have
I
been.
remember a Juve Atalanta, but it's really long time ago. That was cancelled because of snow. Uh,
Oh, right.
Okay.
that was a really big disaster. I remember that day because because it was cancelled really like a few
That's
hours before the game, so a lot of people already traveled.
right.
I think a few weeks ago, someone told me here on the channel I was there for that game, and then it was cancelled. And he said, yeah, especially if when you're coming from another country, it's really
Horrible.
annoying. But on the other side, then the security. Look, there it was cancelled because it was impossible to play. Then, if we are really speaking about the security of people, the health of people, and the risk that it can have, sometimes it's better to cancel, honestly, which is a pity, yeah, because then you have immediately the international break. The question here in the chat is, wouldn't it be a solution to actually play without the supporters? They always try to avoid doing that, except, of course, if the stadium is banned, like we played against Genoa, but that's a total different story. Here we are really speaking about being at risk. Juventus is out of the Champions League competition, the European competition, which means that Juve have time. You could possibly play that game whatever when you want because we are out of Coppa Italia and we are out of Champions League, unfortunately. But Fiorentina is still in Europe, so it makes it a bit difficult for them to find another date. So it will be, I don't know. I hope we can play. I hope it's not a risk for anybody. But if not, they will postpone it to the first available date. So the first question is, regardless of the health, security, etc., is it good for Juve to cancel that game for the state that we are in after the 4-0, or you think we need to play as soon as possible?
I mean, not even so much because of the Atalanta match, but more because of the injuries. If if Conceição is, really about to like re-enter the group and he just needs kind of like a week more to get a little bit more healthy, then maybe it is better if we if we postpone because we've really been missing him in the lineup. In terms of just getting back in the saddle after the loss, like yeah, I would rather play this week, but also there's the question of like how great the status of the pitches. You know what I mean? It's like if it's been raining for so long and the pitch really isn't in, the best shape that it should be before a match, then I'd rather not have, somebody get injured because
Yeah,
of a faulty pitch.
I
I cannot
agree.
tell you about the
I
state of the field. I know that in our stadium, it's quite well organized. We have some systems also to pay attention to these kind of things. So it's nearly impossible that the game is cancelled because of external climate things. In the islands team, in other fields in Italy, unfortunately, we saw it a few times. But yeah, it's a really good point that you are raising up, Marcella. Joe, you wanted?
Yeah, no, I think that personally, I would prefer if the game was canceled. I think that from the standpoint of injuries, I think we could really use some rest and just let some players get healthy. I think Marcello mentioned Conceição. I think having him back in the lineup would be a great addition, right? Like against Atalanta, we miss Chico, so would have been nice to have him there. I definitely think I don't know what was up with Kalulu not getting the start against Atalanta. Personally, I think he's sort of solidified his role as a starter. The fact that Kelly started over him kind of suggests that there might be something lingering as far as an injury goes. So maybe that'll give Kalulu a rest or a chance to rest up, and he'll be back in the starting lineup as well, which personally I would feel a little bit better about as opposed to Lloyd Kelly.
Look, I will go unpopular, of course. I would love to play. Of course. Of course. First of all, health of people, no risk, because that's always the priority, because football is just football. But if things are okay so that we can play, I would love to play. Because after that one, it's like 2 weeks of international break. We don't play on calendar before, if I'm not wrong, the 30th or something like that of March.
I
So
think it's
that means that
28.
we will stick with that Atalanta loss for 3 entire weeks. It will be long. It will be really long. I'm not confident at 100% that we will win against Fiorentina. Today, I don't feel being confident to tell you, yeah, we'll go, we smash them, we have a reaction. But at least we know. At least we know. We lost. Let's see what we will do. We win. At least we go in international break with a win, which is always better. If we draw, we draw. Then we can continue to discuss. But I would love to see what about my team, because I really need a react. I need to understand if yes or no they will react, because we have 10 games to play. And like I said, like every game will have their own story, and the game will decide what we will see on the first page the day after. Am I wrong in wanting that? Am I selfish in asking them to play as soon as possible?
No, I think from the point of view that it's best to like get back in the saddle as soon as possible, then yeah, you want the team to have a reaction. I don't know. For me, I almost feel like waiting though for 3 weeks. I'm not thinking about it in terms of they're stewing over the loss for 3 weeks. I think it actually gives them time to kind of, forget about it and kind of put it in the back of their mind and come
You,
back with
you think they will forget? Because
no, not forget about it, but forget the anxiety of it. You know what I mean? Like you put the anxiety of it behind you and you come back just like feeling fresh and, wanting
The
to
the
just
the media is so negative. I feel like they're just probably
that,
dwelling in all the
yeah,
negativity.
the media is a problem in Italy. We know that. We know
I
the
but
I
media.
can
don't
see what
forget,
you're saying,
if they
Marcella.
don't play the papers, they still need to sell. So
Yeah,
they need
exactly.
stories to go out. Huh?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
That,
yeah.
that's
No,
that's why I
it's
say let's play, and then we see, because otherwise, look, already if we go towards what the brother of Koopmeiners was speaking about, then they go and they try to chase some new information with the one of a Huijsen today, that it's not the first time that he's speaking about it. I didn't see why it was necessary again to listen to his words, but I think it will go worse and worse and worse. At least if we play, they have something to write about. At least we have like 2 days of rest. Otherwise, it's really, according to me, extremely tough. By the way, I read that all the people now, they are totally in love with Miretti, because he scored a goal, 2 goals, a brace, by the way, against Lecce. So they are playing at the moment as we speak. And as you can see, a fantastic goal at the 16th minute. It was really beautiful, probably the goal of the week already in the first game. And then he scored that second goal. So his first brace in Serie A for Fabio Miretti. Congratulations to him. And that makes me actually laugh a lot, because yesterday I made a tweet speaking about Miretti, how much talent he had, because I watched all his growth and career since the youth academy. He didn't do well with the first team, and I said, that fact of going 1 year on loan can only beneficial for him, for Miretti. But it makes me laugh, because a lot of supporters, they hate him out, and then he scores a brace. Mamma mia, what did we do? Look at that, he's the best player of the world. It's always like that. Is it also? Do you also see this kind of reaction in the club, Marcella and Joe?
It depends on if they're a player that everybody is mad was loaned out. I can tell you that every single time Keane scored a goal for Fiorentina after he left, the chat was in, uprising, because why did we let him go? Why did we let him go? Why did we let him go? My opinions about Keane are, haven't changed for me since probably the past 8 years. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
I don't think that he wanted to leave Juve. I think he wanted to do his best for us. I really did like him as a player. I just don't think that it was the correct environment for him. And I really, really hope that that's not going to be the case with Miretti. But I find, more times than not, there are a lot of youth players that as soon as they leave the first team, they play, a whole lot better. And then after 1 year on loan, everybody wants them to be recalled back to the first team, and then they don't perform after 1 year. You need a little bit more time to develop. No one completely changes no one completely changes after 1 year. So I think, if we can keep Miretti out on loan another year after this, it would probably be to his benefit. But I guess the reality of the situation is, Genoa's either going to make a move to buy him, or, and Juve's probably going to look to make some
At
more
the
money.
moment, he's just a loan without option, without obligation. So he's back at the end of the season. Back at the end of the season, then we will see what we'll do with him. Of course, there will be some attempts from Genoa, from other clubs. I don't know. I know that it's a huge, big talent, of course. He didn't show it with the first team. Will he be able to do it in the future? I always say with these young guys that are for the first time in a big club like Juve, if you arrive in an environment that is welcoming you, where everything is working well, it's easier for them to step up. If at a certain moment, like it happened also last season, you are counting on Miretti to change the destiny of a team, probably it's a bit too much pressure for them, especially because we
Absolutely.
were speaking about Juventini since birth. By the way, speaking about Moiskin and Colo, that's a really beautiful match. Look at that. I believe the supreme beautiful words are here. What better can happen to a content creator? Because Moiskin posted some pictures on Instagram of him. I don't know what he was doing with the baby, but I know that he was watching a video. He was watching something on television. It's actually the beautiful video from Moiskin made by Colo99. I think that's the best thing that can happen to a content creator, being recognized by players, especially if you are dedicating your time, you are doing something for a player. It's really, really nice. So congratulations to the goat of highlights and skills and beautiful edits, Colo99, that is also a long time subscriber of the channel. That's beautiful, no?
Yeah. It's awesome when
Awesome.
the team is looking at, content made by us fans.
Of course, it's easier to post highlights and skill than posting me, Beppe, speaking when they are not doing well. They don't like that. But I know I tell you, a lot of players are watching like you, like me. They are watching YouTube. They are watching content, and it's beautiful when they are taking the step to post. That's also recognizing a lot of work that has been done. Like we were praising the JOFC members that are doing a lot of work. We have a lot of content creators that are speaking about whatever team. It's beautiful when we see these kind of things. So Moiskin is still the GOAT. I met him, and I can guarantee you, a super kind person, really super kind person. I was sad that it didn't work out at Juve, but also there, sometimes it's not working. It's not working.
No, it's not working. And
Will
the
it work for Will it work for Koopmeiners? That's the question.
Oh my God. Beppe, I'm not ready
I
to
don't
go there
think so.
yet. I'm not ready to go there yet.
You are not ready.
I'm not ready to go there yet.
We are obliged, because that's the next topic. Koopmeiners. I already saw your face. I wanted to ask, give me an assessment of his season so far. Do you still believe in him before going to the words of his brother? But I see your faces, and I don't know if I still need to ask you the question. What do you think about Koopmeiners' first season? Okay, let's start with that. Were you excited when we signed him?
I was extremely excited, but I had my doubts because of Motta's system,
Mm,
and because I think it was a pretty fair assessment that, Gasparini is a system coach.
mm,
So when the best player from your system leaves that system, what's going to happen? Are you going to, need a little bit of time to kind of like get acclimated? Sure. would I say that we're probably past what I would have liked to thought is that like acclimation period? Absolutely. But at the same time, I think I have more faith in Koopmeiners under a different coach than I have with Motta.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of the perspective that I'm taking, and I'm sticking with it, is that I would have hope that Koopmeiners can kind of refine his form more than I'm willing to believe that Motta is going to like turn this team around.
Look, the words of the brother. The intro was beautiful. My brother will soon be back at the level of Atalanta. That's nice. What about his future? He's in love with Juve. It's true that I did a meet and greet with him. I did a lot of interviews with Juve players in the last few years. I can really guarantee you that I can spot if a player is honest, sincere, or not, because eyes are never lying. And I can tell you really that he was so happy and proud to be at Juve. When the brother is saying he's in love with Juve, I don't doubt about it a single second. So it's really beautiful title here, or first beautiful quote. The problem is that the brother was continuing to speak, and at a certain moment he was identifying why it was not working at the moment at Juve, where he says, look, from outside there is a lot of pressure, especially for the value that he costed, because he costed a lot of money. People often underestimate the change of total environment, adapting to new players, a new team, a new coach, a different way of playing, and also in Torino is playing in a different role. A lot of people sometimes, or too much often, they are underestimating that. And that was the first part. Then there is a second part that is coming. This morning, I made a video and I spoke about it. I said, look, yeah, great, but this is what is happening in every single transfer of every single player of every single work, So I can understand the difficulty in the beginning of the season, but here we are speaking about the 14th of March. It's the end of the season.
Beppe, didn't his brother mention something about something going on behind the scenes?
That's the next part.
I got
That's
you.
the next part.
Sorry to.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I have no idea what I didn't read the article. All I saw was like the headline that he's in love with Juve. Okay, sure. Of course he's in love with Juve. We saw that in the video when he first came to meet Motta and meet Juventini and meet all the players. Like, we saw that he wants to be here. No one doubts that he wants to be here. But, at a certain point, you need to perform, and he's not performing. So
the problem is the second part, like Joe is already introducing, when the brother is saying, look, he says, people do not know what is happening behind the scenes. I don't know every single detail about it, but I can tell you that it's not easy. When you read these kind of things, I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate it at all.
He seems to be making excuses to me, which the biggest thing that frustrates me about the Koopmeiners situation is Motta's like persistence in playing him, right? Like, it's almost like Motta's like kind of in his head about Koop, like he's gonna prove to everybody that Koop, I don't know, that he can make him work in his system, or that Koop is like Juventus material, which I don't know. I personally am not the most anti-Motta fan that there is. I am in the boat of let's give the project time. Why sort of switch the project midway through? We've had so many injuries this season. Let's see things out. But that's one thing about Motta in this season that's bothered me personally, is the persistence with playing Koop. I think from the get-go he showed that he wasn't a starter. And for weeks and weeks, he continued to start, and even now he's getting subbed in, right? Like that Atalanta game, that was a pretty crucial sub. Like why was he brought in for even in the position that he was brought in? It made no sense to me. I don't get the use of Koopmeiners this season, and personally, I wish we would just stop playing him as much so he'd retain some value and sell him at the end of the season for as much as we can get. I think you got to cut your losses with him and move on. Regardless of the coach, regardless of the system that we play moving forward, I think that we're probably best off without Coop. At
You,
least in
you
my
already
point of
gave
view.
up on him totally?
I have, yeah. From what I've seen, I would prefer, some I don't know. I think that we need a number 10, like a true number 10. I would like to see Yildiz play in the number 10 position. And I think we need somebody to better complement Locatelli in the holding mid role. I don't know if Thuram, this is a very strange opinion that I have, but I don't know if Thuram is being best utilized as a holding mid. I know a lot of people make the argument that he's box to box, that he's, a hard worker, but I don't think he has the distributive ability that, a top tier holding mid would. And for me, I think all his brightest moments have come in the attacking third. So my idea is, why not try to use Thuram somewhere in the attacking part of the pitch, maybe on the wing, maybe as a striker, maybe even try him as number 10. And that would open the role for, somebody. I don't know if we have a player to fill that role currently. Maybe McKennie. I think McKennie could play that position well. But maybe that's what we need to, bring in the offseason is another holding mid to sort of get this midfield firing on the level that it should be. Because as much as I like Thuram, and I do think he is an asset to the team, I sort of feel like he lacks the vision and the just consistency and quickness that a midfielder playing that position needs, at least in my eyes.
You go really unpopular now, Angel.
Yeah, what can I say, man?
People will not appreciate. We have like one good thing, at least in the last few weeks. It is probably Kefren Thuram, and now you're going with your unpopular take about that. But I respect that. I respect absolutely.
It's not that I think that he is a bad thing to the team. I just don't know if he's being utilized in the right place necessarily. Because I agree, he's been nothing but good on the attacking side of the ball and in the defensive end too. But I think his I don't know. I think his his shining moments have been in the attacking third. That's just me.
No,
I'll
but
let
look, what you are saying, it makes sense. I remember that how I sold him here on the channel when we signed him. I said, it's not an offensive player. Don't expect, and he said it himself. I'm not a scorer. I don't expect from me that I will bang some goals, etc., etc. He actually already reached and equalized his contribution from his career, the max that he had. And I sold him more like a player that is a really great defensively, to understand defensively, to take that ball, and then to start from the midfield. And what we see this season, or what people are extremely excited about, is what you say, is the offensive part, and probably not the defensive part that in some occasions, and we saw him also discussing with Motta on the sideline, he was totally out of position in paying attention to the back. So what you're saying is not that crazy. It's unpopular to say it now because it's the midfielder that is working, but it's not crazy at all. Huh? I get what you say.
I don't think so. If you watch him play, he doesn't know how to weight passes very well. He puts players in not the best position, right? Like I said, he doesn't have the vision, I think, that a Pirlo or a Busquets does, right? He's not setting people up sort of as he should be in that position. And that's not to say he isn't a good player and that he doesn't bring good things to the team. I just think he could be utilized elsewhere better, in my opinion.
I think a lot of players could be utilized better elsewhere. And that's my problem with Motta in general.
So let's go on Motta. Look, there were, after the elimination against Empoli, we hear Cristiano Giuntoli the day after coming, speaking, saying we trust the project, we believe in the project. Didn't sack Thiago Motta. Some people were even expecting that he would be sacked after that elimination. The day after, what do we see on the papers? We don't see Thiago Motta continues with Juve. We see the first starting castings of a lot of coaches because they didn't really believe in the words of Cristiano Giuntoli. So I said immediately, I think that the next 11 games, now 10, but they were 11 with the game of Atalanta, will all be nearly decisive for Motta. Do you think, and that's the huge big question, do you think that Thiago will finish the season with Juve or he will not make it until the end?
I think that all of us wish that he was out already, but When was the last time that Juve got rid of a manager in the middle of the season?
The last time was middle, no, but
No, in the
Allegri was sacked two games before, but it was really the end of the season. Top four was already reached. The Coppa Italia was played. We know why, so it's a total different story. We need to go back to the season 2010, 2011. So we are speaking about long time ago. Juventus usually, and even there, it was something exceptional because usually we don't do it. Today I was listening to Luciano Moggi. Luciano Moggi has a really standpoint. Maybe it's a bit vintage, but that's how I grew up with our Juve. You start with a coach, you do everything you can to finish the season with the same coach. I don't know if it's because time are changing, of course. I don't know if it's still actual or not. But that's the standpoint of Moji, and that's what I always try to do. You start a project, you stick together until the end. Then at the end of the season, you take some decision. But yeah, the last time was a prehistory, Marcella.
So I can't see Juve getting rid of him in the middle. I mean, it's not really the middle of the season. How many games are left? 10?
10.
10. So I mean, we're like coming into like, the final part of the season, but I don't see it happening. Maybe before the Club World Cup. Maybe before the Club World Cup starts, but I don't see it.
Joe, you think he will end the season or?
Yeah, no, I think he deserves to have at least till the end of the season. See where he finishes, see what happens. It makes me think of the event that I was at this weekend, right? Having seen Pirlo there, thinking about Pirlo's time as manager.
Yeah.
Pirlo finished fourth with Juventus in Serie A, and he won Coppa Italia with Juve, right? So I don't know. Pirlo, we sacked Pirlo right after, right? So does Motta deserve the same outcome? I guess based on results, based on what Juve fans seem to want. Yeah, I guess the logical decision would be to sack Motta. But I think given the state of the season, given all of the injuries we've had, and I know it's easy to say, oh, the injuries, we've been without players, but I mean, look, when you lose one of the best center backs in the world, who is central to your system. He's setting the tempo with the counter press. He's directing the game. Like losing a player like him off the get-go, and not to mention all the other injuries we've had, but I think that one in particular, and sort of the ripple effects it's had with our back line. To play possession style soccer, football, you need to have a solid system, a solid back line, right? And this whole season, it's been a revolving door back there. We've had no sort of definitive squad. And, is that a product of Motta's sort of decision-making and where he puts players, or is it a product of who we've had available? And to me, I think it's more of a case of who we've had available, right? Like, so to sit here and say another coach would have had all these better results given the pieces we've had available to us this season, and given what our expectations I feel should be as a club who is rebuilding, who is trying to reestablish themselves. I don't know. I feel like everybody's saying we're in crisis right now, but are we? We're going to potentially finish fourth in the league. The players are getting healthy. Bremer is on the recovery, man. I just saw yesterday he's posted on Instagram. He's running on the treadmill. Like maybe we just need to sort of sit down, assess where we're at, and I don't know, be patient, right? Because you can't rush greatness, right? You look at Alex Ferguson, freaking the best manager of all time, some say. He didn't do shit at Manchester United for 3 seasons, 4 seasons, and I'm sure the guys in my Juventus group chat are rolling their eyes because I told this story before. I don't know, but I don't know, to write somebody off because of one bad season, and a season that was bad, I think due to injuries, is to me seems ridiculous. To the idea of sacking Motta. And not the only way I think sacking Motta after the end of the season would be acceptable is if we got a top 3 manager in the world, like somebody who's won Champions League, somebody who's won their league, somebody who can
The top three
guarantee.
manager in the world will not join Juve. Forget about it. But what people are people. What we are speaking about is what Alessio is saying in the chat. The word progress. That's the annoying part, because I agree with you. Bremer is decisive, but we are speaking about October. We are not speaking about the run of the Scudetto. You lose your center back, and that's why you are out of the run of the Scudetto. Now we are speaking about October, which means that you had the entire month of October. You had November, December, January, February, and probably also the beginning of March to find something that is working with the players that you have. Of course, we had a lot of injuries. The problem is that today we don't see progresses with Thiago Motta. We saw the game of Atalanta, which was a total disaster. We don't see growth in terms of mental strength, even after slaps that we received against PSV, that we received against the B team of Empoli. We still continue to repeat the second youngest team of Serie A, and it's correct. But on the other side, look at an even younger team that won against PSV. We were speaking about Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, that won against Liverpool, in Champions League. They're extremely young, but they have that progress that you can see towards the season, which we don't have. We don't see the patterns. We don't see a style of play. We see, like Marcella was saying, some players out of position. We don't understand why some players that are doing well 2-3 games, suddenly they totally disappear, and some players that are not doing well for 2-3 games, they are confirmed. So there are a lot of questions, but especially the word progress is not seen. And I believe that more than nobody was thinking that we would have competed for the Scudetto, we would have winning the Scudetto. We thought that we would have done better in a Coppa Italia, but it's not that much the result that is putting Thiago at doubt, but it's the fact that, one, we don't see progression in a lot of areas. Two, a lot of players.
How could you expect progress when your team is half of what it was at the beginning of the season?
But the approach at the beginning of the season, in my opinion, was completely wrong, which is why I'm not surprised that we haven't seen progress, because how can you see progress when your approach was wrong? I think there are a couple of players that I would have rather went after in the winter mercato to repair the problems in the back line better than what we did. I think that in the beginning of the season, there were a couple of players that wouldn't have been as expensive as, let's say, Koopmeiners, that would have been, pivotal to Motta's system. I said from the beginning of, the whole Motta rumors last year, if we're going to get Motta, we need to get Ferguson, because Ferguson was really, really crucial to his system. And yes, I know Ferguson had an injury that then would have made him less than ideal to go after. But at the end of the day, if you bring in any system players to buy into Motta's system, and instead you take Koopmeiners, that was a system player for a completely different coach and a completely different system, it's like you're putting a square peg into a round hole. It's like you're not going to get progress.
But Motta is highly praising him, and he's playing in game out. So I get, like, for example, Dusan Vlahovic. From the moment that he has the solution, he's not playing Dusan anymore. Now we saw a lot of times that we had other solutions, but he's still insisting on Cope. So that means that he's not that much against having Koopmeiners, right? Or am I wrong? I understand what you say. Yeah, you're totally correct, Marcella. You're totally correct. But then we see what's happening on the field, and we see that, and that's one of the things that people are blaming Thiago Motta the most about the word meritocracy, etc., and they still continue to see Koopmeiners on the field.
I think that fans don't understand maybe the push and pull between the management and Motta. We paid this much for him. You have to play him.
Okay.
Because maybe that's maybe what Koopmeiners' brother is saying when he says that you don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. Yes, the fans are like, stop starting him, sub him in, do something else. But then you have the management that's saying, we just paid this much for him. You can't bench him. He has to play every single game, even with the fever. How many times did Motta come up with the dog ate my homework? He had a fever. So bench him if he has a fever. It's like there are so many things going on behind the scenes that I feel like there's no way to understand what is actually going on.
I agree. I feel like there's so much with the Koopmeiners situation. I'm trying not to sum up Motta's spell solely based on the way that situation has gone. I feel like it's sort of
but I think that
more.
Marcella did a fantastic fair point, and I agree with her as well. And that's what I also partially said during the season. When you have a 55 million euro investment, what they call the AAA objective, that was the player that needed to come, performing or not performing, you need to insist. I can understand that. The push from the management and nearly the obligation at a certain moment, then you need to take also your responsibility in saying, no, it's not working because the entire team is not finding their way of playing because the player is not performing. But I can understand what you are saying, Marcella. I totally agree with you. On the other side, to come back on what Joe was saying earlier about one player is missing and we don't see any progress anymore, then how do you want to have progress if the team is half injured, etc., etc.? I don't completely agree. I don't completely agree with your statement, Joe, because a lot of things are not working. It's not only Koopmeiners, it's not only Bremer that is absent. We didn't see Douglas Luiz. That was your second biggest investment. We didn't see him on the field. We didn't see Dusan Vlahovic performing because a lot of people were telling me, wait, that we have we have another coach. Dusan Vlahovic will work. Dusan is not working. Then we can blame the coach. We can blame the player. But
Douglas Luiz has been a fitness thing, no? I mean, is that not the reason he's been out? Is some type of muscle fatigue, this or that? He's got some problem with his hamstring. I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, he's been out due to injury.
That's what we hear.
That's what we hear.
That's what we hear. But even when he was available, it was not that we saw a starter. I didn't see a Douglas Luiz, and I was the first one to put my face on Douglas Luiz. I promised people that he would have been the best signing over Koopmeiners. I was totally wrong because of his performances. But Douglas Luiz is not performing. Our midfield is not performing. We are relying on a player that in the summer we wanted to push actually to go to Aston Villa to have Douglas Luiz, and we are speaking about Weston McKennie. In defense, when you take 4 goals at home, which didn't happen since 1967, something is there. We see the same problems as we saw in the beginning of the season, a team that is not able to finish a first half totally focused, and we don't see them coming back on the field in the beginning of the second half. Happened a lot of time. A team that I personally lost a lot in faith in. They believe or they don't believe, or they understand or they don't understand what fino alla fine until the end means, because for the very first time in my Juve career as a supporter, I don't believe that this team can come back on score. I always, when I'm doing the watch along, always said to the people, guys, believe it can happen. It will happen. It could happen. Then it happened or it didn't happen. But I had that belief. This season, they took it away from me. So it's not only a way of playing. It's not only the
What
injury,
about the Inter Milan game, the 4-4 Inter Milan game?
Give me 3 things that are better. 3. Give me 3 things that are better this season than what we saw before, especially from the expectation that we had from Thiago Motta.
3 things that were better this season than they were last season?
That they were before, last season. You can even go with 2-3 seasons before.
McKennie and Weah are being utilized in central roles, and their talent is being utilized.
McKennie was a top assist man last season. He had a fantastic season last season.
Weah.
He was on the way out.
McKennie was about to leave because of contract extension problem. But the last season of McKennie was fantastic. He was top 3 players of Juve.
I feel like he's certainly
I don't know.
sort of expanded his sort of role within the team. I mean, he's been captain this year. You don't think
that he's better this season? Yeah.
Mentality, he's better, but I would say he's on par with his actual contributions. I think his contributions last year were just as important as they were last year. Weah, I agree with you. Weah definitely seems to be contributing a lot more, but I also don't think he was really utilized 100% in the best way under Allegri. Plus, he was still new. He was.
But okay, okay, let's say Weah. Yeah.
So Weah's one.
But is that really something that we need to say? It's a player thing. It's an individual, or we can say one player.
You're saying
I wanted to speak overall. I really wanted to speak overall.
Okay, I will say that I do think in the beginning of the season, when Motta first took charge, I think we saw that we were moving the ball better.
Yeah.
I don't think that we were able to get it on net as much as we had hoped after seeing the build-up progress. But the build-up to the play did look better. And at the end of the day,
I agree.
It doesn't matter if the build-up looks better if you're still not scoring enough. I'll give you that. But
no. But we see a team with ball possession that is starting from the back and has an intention to play the ball. That's totally correct.
100. So that's
having some style and some identity. I feel like you got to see it in the beginning of the season when all the pieces were there, right? When
the
you could
team identity or the team identity or Motta identity.
I respect you, Joa, but I cannot accept it in the month of March. We need to pay attention to, because last year people wanted the head of Allegri and nobody, because when you were mentioning, but Pogba was in doping and Fagioli was there, you missed two players that you were not even able to replace. And no, we couldn't speak about it because then it was like, but you are defending Allegri, you are this. And we had a lot of injuries the last season as well. Even before, Di Maria out. How many times was he out? And we were not able to play with Di Maria. And Pogba was out because of injury. I cannot accept for an entire season that we say, but the team was not fit. Because if you're looking at the last weeks,
it's really Jay Medical out.
The team was there.
I agree. I forget about Motta out. Jay Medical out.
Also, we already did, by the way. I don't know what's happening there. We will never know, I think. But I cannot accept that in the month of March, especially now, if you're looking at the last 2 weeks, all the players were there. Yeah, one is missing for one game. The other, we know so long since Bremer, and we also had the opportunity in the month of or in the winter to go with some players there. But we cannot put everything on Bremer was not there, and that's something that I said in the beginning. Bremer impact has been huge, but we cannot. I cannot accept. Otherwise, every single coach that will come in the future, we will have one player, an essential one that will miss, and then we'll say, okay, it's fine. Okay, let's go. Let's be 7th. Let's be 8th. We don't care. We continue.
But
we're not 7th or 8th though. We're 4th.
Today
we're gonna qualify for Champions League potentially. I mean, let's let the season finish out, man.
We're closer to 5th than we are to 3rd now.
I mean,
Beppe, couldn't you say that the whole injury situation at Juventus is just a little peculiar in general?
Yeah. But since years, huh? But you know what is worrying me?
That's a problem.
Yeah. But you know what is worrying me? I explained it on the channel since 5 years. We changed the entire medical staff and we don't see results. We changed fitness coaches with Pirlo, but even before, with Sarri, with Pirlo, with Allegri, and now with Thiago Motta. Total different way of playing. And it's not that the players that are injured are the one that were there with Allegri. It's the new players as well. Douglas Luiz never had that many injuries. So he equalized actually what he had in his entire career. How many players are really injured now that were not even there last year? We changed the head of physical team that is there, that is looking at all the different teams. We changed everything from gym medical to fitness staff to everything, and we still have the same problems. It's really worrying because you know what we say, change and sack the gym medical team and it will be okay. if that was the problem. The problem is that if you already did like I think 1 or 2 times and we still have persistent problems, then I'm really worried. I cannot explain myself.
I don't think any of us could explain it, but it's troubling.
But
Yeah, I
Joe,
don't know.
I'm usually the positive one. Huh? I'm
It
usually
sounds
the
like
positive one. Huh? So what you're saying, I understand what you're saying. It makes sense. I understand that it is a fact. It cannot be an excuse, but it is a fact. But it's just that we are Juve. We are Juve. At a certain moment, I need to see progress. Look, we stopped at ball. How we build from the back. The moment I didn't hear two other things except of Owea that is playing better and
I think
better.
when Bremer was on the field, and I know it's hard to hear, but when we had that elite center back, we were pressing in a way that was different than I had seen under Allegri or
It's
another
true.
manager. We were bringing the game to the other team through the way that we press, and I think
True.
that in addition to paired with the possession style made for a system that was exciting, right? It was different. It had some promise to it. It was unique. It was, like I said, exciting. But I feel
Exciting,
like
even if we were not able to score, because that was the problem that we were saying before. Huh? We were there not conceding goals. I remember fantastic, beautiful Como game, beautiful Verona game, and then you start 0-0 against Empoli, 0-0 against Roma, 0-0 against Napoli. We had a lot of these games with Bremer where you were not able to. And you remember we were blaming the coach at a certain moment that we were not the team that was able to find a way against low block teams. Then we saw that Stuttgart comes in our home to play Champions League. They are not low block and they totally destroy us with Bremer. No, he was not there anymore. He was
No.
not there
no,
anymore. But against the Stuttgart, totally humiliate. I think that was one of the huge big humiliation of this season. Then you see an Empoli, you see an Atalanta, and we are speaking not about the month of November, because in the month of November, in the month of December, I was still on the road of, look, guys, we had to change our way of playing because Bremer is missing. But now we are so far in the season that we cannot. I think we cannot accept that.
No, we can't accept that adjustments weren't made.
Especially if you have the opportunity because of the other ones to be at -6, you have the opportunity to try. I'm not saying to win it, but to try, and that's
Keep
the
yourself in
moment.
the race.
I feel like adjustments were made though. Kalulu was out for a period of time. He was injured. We had to move the center backs around. We had to sign more defenders just to keep the back line full of bodies. We had to pull way into the back line. We had to put McKennie into the back line. Like adjustments were certainly made. I feel
Adjustments
like
were made, but they weren't. They were adjustments to adjust the defense. And I think that if Motta was so willing to make all of these adjustments in the back end, he could have also made adjustments in the attacking part of the field to maybe have Koopmeiners play in a better role than what he was doing, because it certainly wasn't working. So it's not just about adjustments when you're absolutely forced because of injury, but also just about adjustments, moving forward. Because if you're so reluctant to make adjustments, how is this project ever going to work? If you were insistent on playing Koopmeiners every single game, because for whatever reason it might be, at that point you have to say, if this is the guy I have to play every game, then where can I play him to get the best out of him?
I agree with you about the Koopminer thing, but the way that you're talking about the defense and the offense being like two separate things, I just don't see like the adjustments he's needed to make on the defense have affected the entire team. Pulling McKennie out of the midfield affected the midfield, right? He had to play different players in the midfield. Pulling Weah out of wing, he had to play different players on the wing, right? Like the adjustments he's making to supplement the back line have had ripple effects on the entire pitch.
Right. No. But what
And
I'm saying
and
is
that's not to
that
say the defense is isolated on the field either, right?
no,
Like
of course not. Of course. But what I'm saying is that it seems that he only is willing to make adjustments in general is when it's because he's forced to, because of the injuries in the defense. Meanwhile, before all of those injuries had even happened, right? in the second half of the season. Had you maneuvered stuff earlier to maybe suit Koopmeiners a little bit better, all of those ties, maybe some of those were, maybe some of those were wins and we took home 2 extra points, so that when you have a devastating loss, not that we would ever want one, but it doesn't feel like the whole entire season just got blown out of the water. We had so much hope prior to that Atalanta game that we were going to stay in the race, but everybody knew if this ends badly, that's it. It's completely over. So if you're, if we're going to look back and say, oh, he's made adjustments.
The title race, but has that been the goal of this season though?
No, but Joe, I can accept 100% that someone is telling me, look, we have been unlucky. We had an idea. We were not able to implement it because of injuries, and we had to do with what we had. I can accept that. Why not? We had an idea of way of playing. We saw some things. So let's continue. I can accept that, but I cannot accept that we are telling me, yeah, but it was not our goal. I cannot accept a Thiago Motta that is going in front of microphone and saying, at least we don't speak about Scudetto anymore.
I think our goal wasn't to win.
I cannot accept that. That's not Juve. This is not Juve. I cannot accept that after an elimination against PSV, we are telling me in front of microphones, if I need to do it again, I would have done exactly the same. While a player has fever, and we know that we are playing him, like we continue to do exactly the same mistake with playing Kenan Yildiz, that we all know that he had stomach flu. And you cannot play because we were all saying it. Like the guy was about to not be called up. If you trust him to start the game, it's a problem. If you put your player, Koopmeiners, as a right offensive winger, it's another problem because he's totally out of position. But it's the behavior of being eliminated against the B team of Empoli in Coppa Italia a week after being eliminated against PSV. Not understanding the moments, a team that from the moment that we have an opportunity in a positive way or difficulties in a negative way, it's a team that is going totally in shaking legs and totally wasted. And that's probably where I am, and I believe a lot of people are blaming at the moment the results of this Juve. It's the fact that we don't see a Juve that is growing in terms of, look, we give you the belief that we can continue to grow the next season, because next season it can happen again that Bremer unfortunately goes again with a second injury. It happened to what's the name there of the player of Fiorentina, Roma.
It can. I agree. It can happen.
Maybe then
it's time to look into some other options, right? But
I agree with you with giving time and being patient. I don't agree with taking it like, yeah, but it was because of injury. Yes, if we see some growth, I didn't see any growth.
I feel like my viewpoint might be slightly misinterpreted here too, because I'm not saying that Motta is the savior, he's the end all, right? Like if Motta loses the rest of the games in Serie A, I think we have every right to question, him as the manager, and his ass should be on the hot seat. But if we finish in decent standing, then I think you have to be more pragmatic, and I think you have to look at things more sensibly. But that's just me. And I know it's not a popular opinion, but I appreciate you letting me be heard and letting me put it out.
I like. Otherwise, it's too nice. Otherwise, it would.
Someone had to be optimistic, Joe. Because
usually I am the one that is taking the positive role, and today I took the other side because, like you're saying, you're going on one end, I'm going to the other end, which I'm not, because I'm much more balanced usually. But it's true that what hurted me a lot is that at match day 28, because there are 10 games to be played, they didn't give me, but it's not only Thiago Motta, and that's also, to be extremely precise, it's the management, Thiago Motta, the players, it's the entirety. They didn't give me at the moment enough reasons for me to say, ragazzi, we continue, we persist. Then we're
missing a captain.
They can still do it.
Captain.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that in the games where there was a lot to be desired from the team, at least Danilo went in front of the microphone and gave you the feeling that, you know, the locker room understood what just occurred and that they were going to go out the next game and give the team a better performance. Whether they did, whether they actually did or didn't is, to be discussed. But, I think that my biggest problem has been like just the lack of vision between the office and Motta just from the beginning of the year. From the beginning of the year, I didn't think that the players that had been so important to Juve were being played. I didn't think it was a good idea to get rid of Danilo. Forget about when they got rid of Fagioli. And we didn't Beppe, we didn't even get to talk about
We didn't, but we will have no time to go through it. But what you are saying is correct. When we hear about, the problems in the locker room, when we hear about Dean Huijsen speaking, etc., etc., Fagioli left, Danilo, the way that how he left, is someone doubting that it's not, and that's probably the biggest thing that we didn't bring on the table, is someone doubting that it's not ideally, the locker room has not been ideally managed by Thiago. And that's usually the make or break of continuing with a coach.
there's no vision. I don't think there's any vision. I think I don't think he had, I don't think that he was given enough to start that he probably would have needed, but that's not necessarily the front office's fault if Thiago didn't ask for it. But I feel like we went into the season with like rose-colored glasses. It's like we've got all these new pieces and they're going to work out great. And Motta's new and he's what everybody wanted and he's going to work out great. And then like everybody took the field and it was like, wait a minute. It's like this, like there's like no vision here. There's absolutely no clear idea of how to like move this team forward other than we're brand new and it's all great. And everybody should be happy because everybody was screaming for Allegri out and everybody was asking for a new midfield. And now we got a new midfield. But I don't think anybody would have asked for this new midfield if it meant Fagioli left.
Then EH is saying Giuntoli has left out Motta to dry. This is also something that I blame our management. Probably Motta needed more support because you know that you are also taking a coach that never coached a big team. You need to support him. You need to stand next to him. Then between four walls, you tell him, I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. Like, for example, when he went to Aston Villa, I know for sure that when he went to Aston Villa with, how much was it? Like three field players on the bench, because he said the day before, yeah, I don't want to take some youth players just to have numbers. We go with the one that we have. I know that they spoke between four walls and they said, look, don't do that ever again. You take players from the youth. And the game after, there were some youth players. Some of them even entered the field. So that's how you need to do. You need to coach. You need to support also your young coach that is probably making some mistakes because of, when you are new, when you are 42, when you have everything to prove, you go with your vision and you don't want to make a lot of compromises. But sometimes you need a leader that are telling you, taking you by hand in, there, you're wrong. Pay attention to that. Here, you need to do better. And probably Giuntoli left him alone, which he also did with Allegri last season. And that's something where Giuntoli needs to grow in backing more vocally and verbally and showing more presence to the team, to the coach, because otherwise, at the moment that we are failing because of injury, because of this, because of that, we are again giving up on the coach. It's not funny. I don't like to speak about a change of coach on the 14th of March. Like I didn't like to speak about the change of coach last season or the season before, or with Pirlo, with Sarri, or with whoever. At Juve, I would love to have a bit of continuity, cycles of 3-5 years, and then we can speak about coaches that are leaving Juve because we want too much and we don't have the energy, but not because it's not working. After 8 months we stop. That's not funny. Joe
Pepe,
is,
you
Joe
took
is pissed off.
you,
Joe is pissed off.
I don't know, man. It's a tough time for the team, but it's an easy time for the media. I heard somebody say that the other day. It's as a fan, all I can do is be optimistic and hope that the situation improves, right? Whether it's under
Right.
Motta or somebody else.
Let,
Forza
let's
Juventus.
as long as it's not Mancini.
Okay, that's the game that I want to do to end the live of today. Ciao Paolo, ciao Stavros, ciao Akrep, ciao to all the people that are joining. Let me say again hello and thank you, because I didn't take the time to say thank you to the members, the new members of today, LJJ, Salvatore, and Carlo. Thank you for extending or becoming a new member of the channel. And by the way, we just reached 36,601. So thank you for that. Let's go and try to reach a 40 as soon as possible. So going back on the Toto Allenatori, let's start with Mancini.
No. Are we rating them like 1 to 10? How are we doing this?
Oh, you can do that. I like that. 1 to 10.
-5.
-5.
-5.
Given the interconnection, 0. I feel like if we're gonna ridicule Motta for being an Interista, this would be even worse.
Oh, on that one, I'm pissed off. On that one, I'm extremely pissed off with some behaviors of fans. That's something I really don't understand about. When I hear this conspiracy theory, like it's an agent from Inter that is sent to destroy
You would
Juve.
continue hearing those.
Pepe, you can call me out. It's okay. I was one of them. You can call me out. Yeah, are you kidding me? I never.
How is it possible that Inter is sending Thiago Motta to destroy Juve?
Not that Inter was sending him as a double agent, but my primary reason that I didn't want Motta was because he was from Inter.
But that's a different story. I understand, but the theory, he's an Interista and he wants to destroy Juve from the inside. These are things, guys.
Well, no, that's all. That's based on the results. That's just
Yeah, but that's like people are saying the same for Giuntoli because he has been sent by De Laurentiis. But what are we speaking about, guys? These people they are playing their career, their reputation. Motta, how much stress he has, correct or not correct. Now I'm defending Motta, Joe. You see, it's incredible. Nobody wants that for themselves. To be insulted from the morning until the evening. So I don't believe in these kind of things. Then. That he comes from Inter and that is something that we don't like, that's a total different story. Like, for example, I don't want Mancini because it's true that he was a Juventino until his 12, 13, 14 year. But when Calciopoli started, I think that, and I will be probably extremely unpopular there, but no, probably I will be popular. I don't know how I will be. But if you take Mancini at Juve, that's the guy that was there during Calciopoli, coaching Inter, that was screaming extremely vocally towards the Roma, towards the referee, towards everyone. But your friends from Torino, etc., etc. He has been in court where it was not really clear that he said no, there were absolutely no conspiracy, so it didn't really help. He was proudly wearing that Scudetto that Juve won on his chest. I think that if Juve new management is taking Mancini, that can even be a good coach. But I think it's in a way disrespecting all the people that suffered during Calciopoli. I think that you need to show a little respect to fans that went through Serie B, Calciopoli, and it's not because of Mancini. Mancini has nothing to do with it. It's not because of him. It's just that Mancini is a bit the symbol of Inter, that Scudetto. I think it's tough. I don't want Mancini for
this. Is what the Curva posted today. It seems as if they are not in support.
But it's the same. It's the same. If today we are saying Motta is coming from Inter, which I didn't care because he played 3 years there. Even the Inter fans, they don't consider him a legend of Inter. But if today we are going with that, wait, if Mancini comes to Juve, it will be a hell. It will be a hell. I can tell you.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that'll work out.
And
No.
again, it's not because he went to Inter and he coached Inter. It's because they are professional. They go, they come. I don't really care about that. It's
I
more
feel
that
like the hate will just be too much.
he's one of the symbol of Calciopoli. I think you cannot.
That's fair.
I'm with you.
Next one, Stefano Pioli.
Zero.
Zero.
Not -5, but zero.
That would be a step sideways or backwards.
By the
Beppe,
way,
honestly,
he's an Inter fan. Huh?
every name that has been thrown out for me is like
Klopp is the only good one.
no.
Klopp
Oh
is
my
the only
God,
man.
no, that's like Allegri 2.0. No,
Who?
it's saying
Klopp.
yeah.
No, Klopp is totally different.
No.
But he will not come. Huh? There is zero chances that he comes. But
Yeah, he's one of the only ones I would be like, all right. I
No,
think that's a step in the right direction.
I would love that he will not come.
That's terrible. Absolutely not.
But indeed, Klopp is retired at the moment. What about Conte? Antonio Conte.
Oh my God, 100.
He's
200.
doing Trivago commercials, Klopp. You see him on TV, his teeth are all edited. They look perfect. It's funny.
Antonio Conte, yes? For
100. I have said that even last year I only had two names. Last year it was Conte or it was Palladino, and
not Gattuso.
Beppe, come on.
Marcella wanted Gattuso. What was it? Like in 22, I believe.
Conte's a no for me, by the way. I don't want another mercenary at our club. I think we need somebody
Conte.
for long term. We don't need another pump and dump, another quick project. We need something long term.
But Conte is not wouldn't be another 1 year, like 1 year. Conte, you have to give him another project. But the thing is that it's not even so much about him being a mercenary, but the most important thing right now is that there is nobody on this team currently that truly understands what it means to wear this jersey and to really instill Juventina DNA. And it's like, yeah, Conte might not be like a great name. People might be upset with him after what happened. And it's like, fine, I'll give it to you. I was so upset when he left the first time. But the thing is that if you want to like even have a chance at instilling like Juventinità into a new squad, he's the only person that can do it. The only one.
If we tell you, Marcella, Conte, but at one condition, you need to take Lukaku instead of Vlahovic, instead of Colomoni. It's Lukaku. Conte plus Lukaku.
Wait. Hold on.
What?
I mean,
Dusan and Colomwani are gone for Lukaku. Come on, you can get rid of one of them, not both. Come on,
Dusan, we know it. He will leave. I don't know if there are still people that believe that he will stay there next season, but
oh my God, Beppe, you could have said any other name from Napoli, and I probably would have said yes, but you had to say Lukaku.
but it's obliged. Conte is Lukaku. Lukaku is Conte. It's the same person.
I would do it.
Yeah,
I would do it.
I feel like
I would do a lot to get Conte back.
That comment is true though. No, regardless of what manager we bring in, there's going to be a roster shakeup no matter what, right? Like whoever comes in is going to want to bring in who they want to bring in. So I don't know.
If I have the faith in anybody that has a vision of actually doing that successfully, it's Conte. And after his Euro stint with Italy, what he was able to do with that team of absolute rejects, like, it's like if anybody can do a lot with nothing, it's Conte.
Now the question, Marcella, is we saw what he did with Juve in his first spell. We saw what he did with Italy in a really short tournament. Chelsea, Napoli this season. can he do it with Juve playing multiple competitions? Because also with Napoli this year, he said, "Oh, we are playing Coppa Italia. Don't care at all. Let's go out of that competition as soon as possible," because he wants to focus only on one. That's the big question mark of Conte. And that's a thing is certain with Conte. You cannot see more than two years max. That's a fact. Do we need him more than 2 years? I don't know, but these are the questions about Conte. Welcome, Colin. Another one. Gasperini.
No,
No?
it depends. Maybe I wouldn't say no. Maybe I'd say it depends.
Rate?
I don't think, I just don't think he's coming out of all of the names that have been like given. I actually could see Conte leaving Napoli if he wins this Scudetto earlier than Gasperini. I really don't think Gasperini's coming. He doesn't even want to take a year off. He wants to take like a sabbatical after this year.
Who?
Gasperini.
No, he wants to go immediately. Normally, he will go to Roma.
I think I'm pretty sure he said that he was going to leave early to take a year off.
No, he will. He doesn't want to extend with Atalanta. He wants to leave at the end of this season, whatever happens. But no, he will not take a sabbatical year. Oh, it's closer to the end than in the beginning, Gasperini. So it's if he wants to coach, it's now. He would do a lot to go to Juve. On the other side, that's the big question of a lot of people. How long do you give Gasperini to work? I said it. If you take Pioli or Mancini, that's really a message that you're sending to everyone, like, okay, white flag, we give up on what we believed in, and we go on these names because there are certainties of Italian experience. And so I would not go for Pioli, Mancini, Gasperini. It's continuity of an idea, of an identity of football, and continuing pushing in. We don't want to win immediately, but we have time. If you go for a Conte, you go immediately with a big message. We want to win fast now. So Conte would be. It's not my preferred choice, but Conte would be one that if the management brings me tomorrow, Conte, the management is telling me we can't wait anymore. We want to win as soon as possible. And that would be, I tell you, to me, a message of, okay, we want to win. And I would be relieved, even if it's not my first choice.
It'd be nice to win something.
Yeah.
It would be nice to win something. If you would have given me Palladino last year, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, though.
I don't know, Marcella, because you know that Palladino, I was looking last week before the Europa League win of yesterday, or conference win of yesterday. He was the worst coach in terms of result from Fiorentina since 2002. In the last 16 games, I believe he won. No, there were only 8 games won on 16 last games, something that was a negative record since 2002 at Firenze. So he started really well, and then he started to boom, 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 boom. There were a lot of talk of him being sacked. So I'm not even sure if he was ready also to manage all these competitions. That he's a really great coach, no doubt. No doubt. Would he have gone towards the same problems as Thiago Motta with the injuries, like Joe said before? Maybe yes. Probably.
I think so, but I think I would have felt like maybe he was instilling a little bit more than Motta. Because bless you, I just think that's what has made this season like the worst season ever. Is that you don't even feel like there's someone like instilling any sort of Juventinità into this team based on what he says, like in front of the camera. It's like I've never felt like more demoralized after when he speaks. At least Allegri, after a loss, when he would go in front of the camera, and maybe you'd get a laugh out of it.
Look, I will ask you the last question to both of you. because you met him and you spent the weekend with him. Giorgio Chiellini, they are speaking about him maybe having a promotion, being a bit closer to the team. Was he someone that was able to transmit Juventinità in the 3 days that you were together?
I think so.
I think that he gives you the confidence that he's being real. Because I think it's hard to ask, do you think he transmits Juventinità in front of the fans? Because at the end of the day, like in front of events like this, you have to be like you're kind of like very like straight lace. Don't give the fans any feeling whether you're pro this management, whether you're anti this management, because at this point you're like adding fuel to the fire. So I think it's kind of like unfair to assume whether we were getting his true feelings about the team. I think he was engaging in conversations about how he would have manipulated the market had he been the one in charge of it, which is what gives me hope that like if he is going to have a bigger role, that at least he has a little bit more of a vision. So I would say that I got the sense that he has a vision. He probably has a better vision than Motta and Giuntoli, to be completely honest. Because I mean, after you've been part of the team for so long,
you know that I heard he will not be against Mancini. It will not be his favorite one. It will not be his favorite one, but they will not even ask him at the moment with his current role. But if he would be involved and they will tell him Mancini, he would not be against.
I'm not surprised.
You said you heard that's what Chiellini said?
That's what I heard, yeah. But also because, of course, they won the Euro together, so they have that link and
makes sense.
I mean, Chiellini was a huge part of having that team feel like a band of brothers. So, I mean, I think he would feel. I think he wouldn't say no to Mancini because he knows what he's getting with Mancini. He knows that Mancini isn't going to be against him. But I think
Chiellini would be a great person to give a increased role at the club. Like some of these comments are saying, he's a legend. I know one thing for sure about.
I mean, that's a whole other topic that we didn't really even discuss about. Is that a huge, a huge red X on this management for me has been them not letting Chiellini be close to the team in a time of need. It's like, what message are you trying to send?
I think it's also a big request of Giorgio himself, because he wanted to do it step by step in entering the management, seeing with his actual role, taking distance from the field at the moment before getting closer. First request from him. On the other side, also, Giuntoli is someone that wants to take care really of his project, his team. And I think at the moment it's beneficial to both, or they both agree, sporting side and Chiellini, to not mix up. Then for next season, after a year of being in the management, it can be something else. Then sometimes you have some sense of urgency you need. I understand what you say, but I think it's also from Chiellini's part in saying,
if it's Chiellini's request, then that kind of changes everything. I don't think that from the fans' perspective, everything that we've been hearing from the media is that it was Chiellini's request. This is honestly the first time I've heard anybody say that.
Joe, he came with a
huge have no thoughts.
Smile. He's so pissed off that we had that conversation about Motta today.
No, not pissed off, man. I'm happy I get to talk to somebody about it. I saw somebody say, is Chiellini anti-Motta? Is there a rift there? Is there has Chiellini spoken on Motta much or no?
I have no idea. I didn't hear him speaking about Motta, and I don't know. I
saw somebody say Chiellini doesn't think the future is 2-7-2. I didn't know if he had come out and said that somewhere.
No. Here was the comment of Wait Akrepi. I know one thing for sure about Chiellini. He doesn't say 272 is the future. Why? Because Chiellini is much more pragmatic. Chiellini is one that said publicly years ago, my favorite score is 1-0. You know, so the
272
philosophy of
referring to
Chiellini is we
Motta's
win 1-0,
style.
I'm happy. Repeat?
Two,
Say it again?
272 is referring to Motta's system, right? Like the
Yeah,
the layout of
of course, of
players.
course, of
So
course.
I don't know. That seems, I don't know, to be suggesting
I
maybe
don't know.
him and
No, but Akrepi is giving his own opinion. He's saying, I know one thing for sure about Chiellini. He said, because Chiellini is a total different person.
I get what you're saying now. Yeah.
Chiellini is the 1-0 person that is really loving and admiring Max Allegri. They have a fantastic, beautiful relationship.
Sure. Hard fought
And he's
game.
probably not the biggest fan of Thiago Motta with the 272 beautiful football. But this is an opinion of Akrepi. It's not something that has been said officially. Yeah?
I see what you mean.
Tano is saying 1-0 is better than 0-4. Yeah, that's a fact. I think that on that one we totally agree. Look, Emir appreciated the content. I appreciated Marcella and Joe to be here. We also had a really beautiful discussion about Thiago Motta, in, out, how much, why didn't we perform. I think it was the best part of the video. So thank you, Joe, for being here, for speaking, for your opinion. That has been greatly appreciated. I saw also a lot of people that agreed with your takes, which is always nice. Then you have other people that do not agree, but that's when you're live. That's always like
That's
that.
all I seem to hear nowadays. So I'll have to read the comments back, see the people that agree with me.
Never go back to comments. It's like going back to an ex. Never do that. Never do that. Just enjoy the future. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it, my friend.
I appreciate you, Beppe. Thank you, man.
Marcella, it's always a pleasure. We are friends since 5 years, so every time I have the opportunity to see you, to hear you, it's a huge, big pleasure. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you, Beppe. It's been way too long, and hopefully, we can do this again soon with, better results to talk about.
100%.
And don't forget, go and find a JOFC near to you, because then you can have these discussions live with these amazing people. If it's in New York, in Detroit, in Canada, in Europe, wherever, it's always nice. Let's finish with a really beautiful thank you to Paolo. Grazie, Paolo. Really appreciate it with your donation. Grazie to all of you. And we see each other tomorrow and hopefully Sunday with a game, because that means that at least all the people in Firenze are healthy and not at risk anymore. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao. Grazie, Beppe.